them being in character helps sort of the aesthetics of the magazine front cover, because it can give the viewer of the magazine some insight into maybe what the actor's character's like, so how they're going to look, what particular aspects the character's going to include. Like you see Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man, you see like the Iron Man costume, and how it changes through the different films, so it gives you some sort of insight into what the character can be like.
I think that when captivating an audience for your magazine, I think that having them in character can really sort of entice them into actually watching the film, because if they buy a magazine, if they're a sort of constant viewer and always buy the magazine or have a subscription, I think that they want to see the latest films, and if they have it directly from the front page, I think that having them in costume is such a great idea, because then you can really show what the film's about and what genre it is.
If it's obviously for your film, then I think it would definitely be beneficial for you as a filmmaker to have your actor dressed as a character, so the audience kind of get a taste of what the film's like.
I think they look much better when they have the character on the front cover, as it obviously implies the film that you're actually talking about. Otherwise, they could get confused with any other film this actor's part of.
I think that sort of colour schemes would be a good aspect to follow, because it keeps it all sort of under one sort of colour, so it's quite neat and follows a specific sort of colour gradient, so it's not too many colours in the thing, so otherwise it can become quite distracting if there's like too many colours in the magazine front cover.
Yeah, I think they should follow the same colour scheme as the film, because I think that doing this will sort of show them that this is like the main focus of the magazine, and that the colour scheme is recognisable throughout the magazine poster and the actual film poster as well, because usually you have the film poster inside the magazine.
I think that sticking to a colour scheme is very helpful, and I feel like it looks more professional, because if you have lots of different colours in the whole magazine or on the front cover, it kind of tends to look like a little children's colouring book. Weird way of explaining it. Or it looks kind of like, it doesn't look as professional as, say, you have a black and white theme, or you have like, I don't know, like a blue theme or something.
Yeah, a colour scheme should be used, and I think the colours that representative of the film. So for example, in your film you have the cards, so I think you should maybe use reds or something like that.
Yes, this aspect's quite good, as you said, for grabbing the viewer's attention, because it's the first thing they're going to likely see on the page, looking directly into the middle, so definitely using this will be a good aspect to include in your magazine front cover.
Yeah, I think it is really good, and it's really important, because if you have sort of like an exclusive or something like that, I think it'll be really important, because they'll know that it's sort of, this magazine has a main sort of 6-page spread about the film, and how like important it is for them to watch it, to look at it before they watch it as well.
Yeah, okay, so I think that's a nice idea of doing it, because it'll kind of make it stand out from the rest of like the information within the magazine. So I think it would be a nice feature for your magazine front cover, definitely.
I do like the idea of a banner, but maybe not in the middle, because usually you have the main aspects of the character in the middle, so maybe just slightly off, potentially.
I think sort of keeping it quite simple can work each way, but including information that's specific to the film is good, because it can sort of, it's quite educational in terms of telling you what the film is going to be about, but I think pictures help as well, because it gives you sort of a visual description.
I think one big image with smaller images, just to sort of other minor details for the audience to look at, but I think the use of text as well, I think you need to use it in the right way so it's short and snappy.
I feel like you have to have kind of an equal balance with these things. So I believe that it should be more images than text, because people generally kind of look towards the image of the magazine. However, I feel like there should be more of an equal balance, because you want to know what kind of is inside the magazine before you open it, because usually sometimes they're sealed, so you kind of want some sort of knowledge of what's inside.
I think that it should contain more pictures because obviously your magazine front covers are more of a visual thing, whereas inside the magazine will be more text.
I think sort of certain parts should be in a large font size, as you said, like the main title should be in the big font size because it gives you a clear idea of maybe the make of the magazine or the title of the film. But other than that, there should be sort of smaller text, so it sort of takes up less space within the magazine front cover.
I think both. I think larger font size, but then smaller font size, so they look into it a lot more once seeing like the big headlines. I think this can be really good for gaining an audience.
I think the masthead should be really bold and big, so you definitely know what's going on. The cell line should be slightly smaller, but definitely readable and visible for the audience to see.
Obviously the anchor text and the masthead should be the largest font as they're the most engaging pieces of text and it will draw you in, whereas the rest of this text should be smaller, so because they're more of the sub-stories within the magazines.
I think it's quite parallel in terms of what genre you're using. Now, for the genre, I think you should use sort of darker colours as it sort of will emphasise some of the suspense and factors within the genre that it is conventional. So I think using darker colours sort of creates sort of quite like a crimey sort of mood, whereas lighter colours will sort of emphasise different genres like comedy or sort of just regular drama films. So sort of making them fit your genre is quite useful.
Whatever the colour scheme of the film is really, because if your film is a sort of dark film, maybe if it's a red sort of thing, I think that changing the masthead's colour as well to match it, I think this is really important.
I definitely think sticking to black and white is kind of classic, kind of looks quite clean, fresh, but then again having a big coloured image in the middle, something along those lines I liked to look at in a magazine front cover.
I think lighter colours should be used as they're more engaging and eye-catching to the audience, whereas darker colours might just be missed for the other magazines.
I think that it should be in front because obviously they're going to be the main centre of attention. Now, as long as like the text is sort of visible on the magazine front cover itself, it's okay. If it's going to totally block out the name of the magazine, then I think place it behind the text layer, but if not, make the subject in front of the text, as it will sort of bring more attention and make them the centre of attention.
I think in front, because even though it's a small detail, but it still shows that this is like the main focus of the magazine and everything else is kind of less important as such.
I feel like it should be behind because you just want to know what the title of it is, and I feel like if it's behind you wouldn't really be able to see, it would be clear enough.
Definitely in front of it because I think that it draws the attention away from the picture, and obviously such cases as Empire, everyone knows it's Empire, but the main story is the picture, not the magazine itself.
I think it should be because it's the first it's one of the big parts of information that the viewer is going to see. So giving them a clear idea of what the film's actually called is going to make them, so they're going to look for it in cinema or maybe look for other details on YouTube and maybe try and find the trailer. So this is a very key part of including in your magazine front cover.
Yeah, I think it should. Also, you need to include the masthead, but then at the same time, I think that using sort of like the name of the film will sort of entice the audience into actually searching for it when they actually do buy the magazine.
Yeah, I think so. I think it should be as big as the masthead.
I think a mixture of the name and the picture would be best.